Hey guys, it's Lori. I tell you what, the more stuff you read, go on and lay down. Talking to my dog, he's ready for lunch. But anyway, the more stuff you read, and I want to just make you guys aware of something that I posted yesterday, and I really think, this needs to be seen by the whole world because you need to understand what our future is here. But I'm going to save that for last. So, Tiff Dover has still not resurfaced. One of the groups I'm in, I can't remember the name of it, was saying there's a guy, I guess, that does deliveries at that hospital. So he had asked at the front desk, let's see, Merry Christmas, I just found you yesterday, what a blessing. Oh, thank you, son, I appreciate that. He had asked at the front desk of this hospital, where there were several people, women working, whatever, where is she? Now, I don't know. It's one of those things, just a random stranger, but probably him being a delivery guy, I guess they, probably used to seeing his face, and so they probably were more comfortable talking to him than if just Joe Blow, somebody like me, walked in and go, oh, whatever happened to Tiffany Dover, because that would be, a HIPAA violation. But they just basically said, oh, she's on vacation. So he was like, well, do you know when she'll be back? And, of course, they couldn't give any information and didn't give any information. But then, somebody else sent me today, and I think I posted on my wall, another injury of a healthcare worker who's hospitalized from an anaphylactic reaction. Why, if that's what's going on with Tiffany Dover, have we not just heard that? Well, after she fainted, she did have some kind of a reaction. She's hospitalized. According to this article, this person's doing well. Anaphylactic reaction's pretty bad. So, thought he was delivering a package for her. No nurse takes a vacation at Christmas. No. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, unless you're incapacitated and you can't come to work. Guys, honestly, I feel like the girl's dead. Somebody accused me of wanting her to be dead, and it was like, that's insane. No. Just to be clear, but we want the truth because the public needs to know if a vaccine like this can kill someone who's young and healthy, especially that quickly. Or maybe what was going on with her physically, if there was really something. And no, I don't think she had some feigning deal, because you don't get into nursing and get head of a CCU, department because you can just have a hangnail and faint. That doesn't fly. But I think she's gone, and I think, I'm just going to throw myself out there saying this, but I think they're, we're going to find out she died. They're going to have to come forward with it at some point, because otherwise, what are they, kidnappers? What, you can't, or, hiding a murder, or what, I don't know. I don't even know what they call it. So they're going to have to come forward. That's what I think. But they're going to play it off as her having something, and it's not going to be as a result of the vaccine. That's my prediction. I don't know, but that's my prediction. I don't know if anybody else has any ideas out there, but that's what I think. Pharma's not going to take responsibility for it. If they do, I will absolutely be shocked, because they just don't. And anybody who's researched vaccines and researched the way the industry works knows I'm 100% on point in making that statement. Let's see. The nurse mentioned in this post is a dilemma on reporting a resident's death 12 hours after receiving. Do you have a link to that post? If you can put it in the comments, that would be great. Some nut told me yesterday that she's a hero. She took one for the team. I asked, would you feel the same if it was your daughter? Yeah. Well, and then too, the fact that the hospital makes this video and uses, it looks like they're friends, definitely coworker that's a lookalike, and kind of paints it, and definitely paints it as if you know, here's Tiffany. She's next to this whatever person that was at the beginning of the video. And you know the video's cut because they start, I think at first her hands are out of her pockets, whoever this person is. We think her name is Amber Jean or Amber something. And then you know, in another shoot, or I mean, it's the same video, but the hands are back in the pocket. It's like, it's a real sketchy video at all. But somebody in one of the groups I'm in confronted the hospital. They put up pictures of this girl. They found her Facebook profile, the Amber person. Now that profile's shut down. They put them side by side and it was like, no, this is not Tiffany, this is Amber. And the hospital, I don't know if they shut down their whole page or just shut down, I don't know what they shut down, but they shut something down. So, I mean, does this make them accomplices in a murder? I mean, if it was anything other than the pharmaceutical industry, it would. But sadly, pharma gets away with murder. And they have been for decades and decades and decades. And that's why one of the reasons medical error is the third leading cause of death in the U.S. Polyethylene glycol and propylene glycol are different. PEG is also Miralax. Right. So let's see. Miralax. Let's see what Miralax ingredients are. Polyethylene glycol, right. So ethylene glycol is antifreeze, and it's a liquid. Polyethylene, poly just means many, right? Or more than one. So with ethylene glycol, you've got one ethylene group. It's a carbon and hydrogen groups, the chemical formula. There's a chemical formula for it. So with polyethylene, you've got more than one ethylene group. Does that make sense? And then the glycol actually is an OH group, which is like an alcohol. So anyway, yeah, it's a derivative of antifreeze. It just is. It's used in a lot of stuff. It's used, you know, in cosmetics, in foods, and that kind of thing. And I mean, here you read Moderna's fact sheet. I had that pulled up. I was looking for their ingredients because their vaccine also contains polyethylene glycol. But you know, it says if you are allergic to if you've ever had a reaction to a vaccine like this, well, how could you? There is no vaccine like this out there. Or if you've ever had an allergic reaction to an ingredient in this vaccine, well, who out there has had injected polyethylene glycol? I mean, this is again where you're a guinea pig. You're a human experiment. Last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't get back to sleep for a little while, and I came across an interview on Twitter of Dr. Stella Emanuel. And it's like an hour-long interview. She was interviewing with another doctor, Dr. Randy. I didn't recognize him. Wide-awake guy, though. And oh my gosh, she's hilarious. But I taped part of the interview and I was thinking about playing it for you. But she just nails it, man. She's like, what is going on? That, you know, they've taken the reins out of the doctor's hands when it comes to treating anything. You know, even though these doctors have come forward and said, we've used these other therapies, hydroxychloroquine, you know, ivermectin, all these other things. When has this ever happened in the history of the world? And that's really she's going, what is in this vaccine that you're defying medical doctors who are just practicing, doing what they were trained to do, and they've found ways to treat people. Well, for one thing, if there was another cure out there or another treatment that was viable and successful, they could not bring this vaccine to, my understanding is, they could not bring it to market under emergency use authorization. Because emergency use only qualifies if there's nothing else out there. So that explains perfectly why Fauci and, you know, all the powers that be, the experts, we're squelching anything else out there as being something that actually treated SARS-CoV-2. Because if there was anything that worked, then they couldn't have brought this to emergency use. They'd been able to say, well, there's other things that we can use, and we don't have to have a vaccine. I mean, that could be an alternative, but we don't have to have a vaccine. Yes, my husband and I have COVID and fought to get treated at early onset of symptoms. How bad was your COVID, Christy? You look like you're pretty young from the little teeny tiny picture I see. Did you guys, I mean, obviously you're still here. Congratulations. You were in that 99+% that survived. That's awesome. I saw that ivermectin is supposed to be really good. And now the FDA, although I think my understanding is it needs to be started early on, but that's not a problem because we're testing everybody and their dog. So, if we're testing people that don't even have symptoms. I mean, so many lives could have been saved. Really. Take a sip of my water here. What else? Oh, I know. I wanted to talk to you about the future. This is not good, guys. All right. We have played completely into their hands. This is my opinion. We've masked up. We've shut down our businesses. States with Democratic governors, of course, have been much more tyrannical overall than states with Republican governors. But, this has been a huge success. And I go to the store yesterday. I'm doing a little Christmas shopping, a little grocery shopping. I'm the only one in the store. Well, not the only one, but one of the only ones in the store without a mask. I'm in Florida. Thank God. I have a governor with a brain. So, but they have these, overhead, the music's playing. And then every once in a while, every 20 minutes or whatever, it'll be, wherever you're shopping or something. And we have determined that everybody, we want all our customers wearing masks. I'm like, not this one. But, it's just always that like chirping in your ear. You need a mask. You need a mask. When in fact, masks reduce the amount of oxygen intake that is coming into your lungs. It just does. And I'm a person that's had problems with asthma in my life, so I'm very sensitive to having stuff over my mouth. Like it really, really bothers me a whole lot. It makes me cough. I use a jersey mask that's super thin. That's the only thing I've found that I can tolerate, because any of those others, I don't know what chemicals are in them or what's going on, but I just start coughing. It's my husband's second round. My first symptoms are achy bones, chills, no fever. They gave us a Z-Pack. Okay, well, that's generally safe. We did ivermectin on our own using the sterile injectable solution 1%. My gosh, awesome. That is brave. I'm a large animal technician. Oh, good for you, girl. So I'm familiar with it. I believe it shortened the duration by weeks. I would love to get with you on like a Zoom call and talk to you about this. And just find out more. I can't do it today because I've got to go to work here in a little bit. But after Christmas, obviously this is Christmas Eve. Hello, have a Merry Christmas Eve. I didn't even say that. Anyway, so back to the future. Back to the future. I posted this. I pulled it up. Oh, here we go. All right, you guys. You got to look at this. I've not had a chance really to read through it. I started reading it around the time I was listening to the Twitter thing with Dr. Stella Emanuel. And like I said, her whole thing is what is in this vaccine that you had to push it through, that you had to get emergency use, and now we got to vaccinate the whole world for a disease that has an over 99+% recovery rate. She's pretty phenomenal. And but anyway, this is entitled The SPARS Pandemic 2025 to 2028. A futuristic scenario for public health risk communicators. This is out of Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. Now, this is long. It's not just, casual reading, if you will. And I've barely started it, but it's another coronavirus. Now, you guys think for a moment. Coronaviruses more than likely have been with us since the beginning of time, probably since the fall of man, okay? We only discovered them in the 60s because that's when we really had the capabilities, I guess, to look at under the microscope and identify different viruses and that kind of thing. But the reality is they've been here. It's just that's when we were able to identify them. And we know there's multiple strains of coronavirus. We've played, in my opinion, right into their hands with this COVID-19 pandemic, plandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. I personally think it's all of the above. My opinion again. I really don't think it's a pandemic. That's my opinion. I think it was planned. I think it's a scam. It's all just fear-driven. But here they go again. You know, this was actually, it looks like, written in 2017. So they've known for a long time, fear is going to drive us. We're going to line up and do what they tell us to do. That's what we've been doing for years. I mean, when they brought in the flu vaccine and they started telling healthcare workers back in 2009, 2010, whatever that was, in order to keep their jobs, they had to get a flu vaccine. That's when they learned, they'll do whatever we tell them. Just threaten them with their job. Threaten them with their livelihood, and they'll do whatever we tell them. So let's see, chapter 1, the SPARS outbreak begins. I forget why they call it SPARS. It's like St. Paul something, I don't know. A possible cure, a potential vaccine. So they've already got a vaccine lined up. Like, that's why when they say they've been working on the mRNA vaccine for decades, they have been, buddy. They've been, lining this thing up, and all they had to do was launch it. Again, no animal trials, and you got to ask, when you look at the World Reset of 2030, the World Economic Forum, Visions of 2030, everything they've got lined up, how we're going to be in sync with our phones, it's basically an AI thing. It's artificial intelligence, and somehow they've got to get it into a human. But, what I just saw as I was like, doing stuff around the house this morning, I thought, the elite have, in my opinion, just so planned this out. Like, they've got our future laid out for us. It's going to be one pandemic after the other, one vaccine again after the other, which, by the way, my prediction is this new and especially scary strain that they're telling us is over in the UK, which I think is a bunch of you-know-what. I'm predicting that the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine are magically going to be effective against this new strain. That's my prediction. Could be wrong, but they got to get as much mileage out of these vaccines as they possibly can, and the goal is to, of course, inoculate the entire planet. Be right back. I'm going to get to the doctor. Okay, and anyway. Christy, let me write down your name. I really do want to follow up. That's some interesting information you're giving. And even if I just am counseling people outside of being on Facebook, the more knowledge is power, power is freedom, right? So, and that's one of the reasons so many people are falling in line with all this, is they've just blindly trusted our healthcare industry, which makes money on you being sick. And you're lining up for vaccines. Anyway, so there's like 17. Chapter 17 is vaccine injury. I'm going to read that. That should be entertaining. I won't be able to get to it until I get back from work tonight. But it is 19 chapters, and all I can say is here we go again. They got the new strain of the SARS-CoV-2. This is a mutated strain. We're all supposed to be super scared. The question is, are we going to play into their hands again? Are we going to play this game? Okay, thank you, Christy. Okay, thank you, girl. Looking forward to getting to know you better. This is my thing, guys. We've got to team up, all right? I really want to create a network of healthcare providers that are awake, that are available for people, because the majority of healthcare providers, pharmacists, doctors, nurses, I believe with all my heart that their heart is in the right place. They're not bought by pharma as much. I mean, I realize like some doctors will kick you out of their practice if you don't vaccinate and stuff like that. But I even believe with this whole thing that climate is going to begin to change, because so many doctors have begun to awaken to what is going on. You know, if this vaccine's bad, it puts everything else under scrutiny, right? So, shoot, you lost sound. Oh, it's not me. Okay, I don't think it's me. But anyway, I need to wrap this up because I gotta get ready to go to work here, feed my little doggies before I go. I'm just gonna read through this to be informed and probably make another video and kind of, you know, bring it all together as much as I can. We just got to be awake, guys, and you need to share this video. I'll put a link to the SPARS pandemic. People really need to understand. And here's my thing. How beautiful is it that they put it out in writing so that we actually know what's going on? I mean, if we'd been a little more awake, we would have seen the whole SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19 on the horizon. But most of us were just going through life. So they put this out there. They've got World Economic Forum visions for 2030. I mean, you know, they're planning to take away our cars. They're going to conveniently put us in little, little cities where we can walk everywhere. It'll be so nice. You know, and whether you realize it or not, America is in the process of being taken over by communist China. This is communism. What is happening to us right now, you being told where you can go, what you can do, who you can hang with, that you got to wear a mask when you leave, that you got to have such and such to get a job or to keep your job, that's communism. In a communist country, you do what the government says, and your freedoms, your opinion, your thoughts matter not. It's all about the government and what they tell you to do. So, anyway, continued prayers, guys. Really, our only hope is God first, and I know He's got this, and Donald Trump, because he's the only one with enough backbone to stand up to all this, and he's not bought. So, it is what it is. All right, if you have any questions, I'm working with people. I'm just literally donating my time. I am your servant. I want to help people understand better nutrition, how to get well, what they need to do to reverse disease. Because at the end of the day, you know, what's the song, Only the Strong Survive? I mean, that's really what it boils down to. It is the weak who have died as a result of COVID-19. Underlying conditions, obesity is one of the really big ones, diabetes, high blood pressure, being on multiple prescription drugs, immunocompromised. The key is in being strong. And if you don't know how to strengthen your immune system, you know, that's what you got to do. And it's so easy. That's the thing. It's so easy. But it usually requires change. And a lot of people don't want to make change. But you know, you got a choice. You can either be strong and let your immune system that God put in you that already knows how to handle viruses. We've survived viruses for thousands of years. Why now are we running scared of coronaviruses and waiting for a vaccine? I'm sorry, that's absolute lunacy. But then they're telling us we have to be scared. So if you don't know any better, you run scared. And then they're telling you, and now you got to get a vaccine. All right, guys, this is the list of doctors. Okay, thank you. I don't know who's saying I love you, but I love you guys too. Thank you for your support. I have a website. Oh, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. It's thewisepharmacist.com. You can also contact me through my email, which is thewisepharmacist@gmail.com. So I'm working on putting up a Patreon so that I can hopefully partner with some people and start sending out a newsletter and that kind of thing. It's a whole new deal for me. But I just feel like in my heart, the Lord is saying, just give and it shall be given. Donate your time. And so I'm here to work with you. We can do Zoom calls, whatever. It just depends on how complicated your case is. Sometimes I, can just answer a question via messenger or an email, but other times it requires me to have background and to know where you're coming from, what your eating habits are, what your vaccination status is. All that stuff plays into your health, but particularly your eating habits. It's just a true story. I'm not scared. I'm mad as hell. Yeah, I'm with you there, girl. They think that we are that stupid, blindly follow not this Texas girl. Amen. And I really believe more and more people are standing up to this vaccine. I have had so many comments and things I posted by healthcare providers saying they know so many healthcare workers that are not getting this vaccine. And here's the thing, guys. The hospitals need us. They need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can't just, if half their nursing staff goes on strike because they're going, we're not getting no stupid vaccine. We're not going to be your human guinea pigs. What are they going to do? And the thing is, if one set of healthcare providers in a hospital does that, it's going to be like a domino effect, man. It will set such a shining example. And I think you need to think about doing that. Because, they got to have us. We are the heartbeat of what it takes to make the healthcare system, quote unquote healthcare, the sick care system work. But I know so many of you out there, you love your patients, you pour your heart and soul into your work, and you would never harm anybody. But sadly, you've been trained by a system that is corrupt. It is what it is. It's pharmakia. So I'm not saying all prescription drugs are horrible and nobody should ever take a prescription drug. I'm so not saying that. But there's just balance. And unfortunately, the pharmaceutical industry has just run with drugs, and vaccines instead of teaching people anything about being strong, which is boosting your immune system, being able to withstand the viruses and bacterial infections that come along without getting all drugged up, All right. Well, I got to get out of here, guys, so I won't be late. But I love you guys. Talk soon. Contact me if you have any questions. Okay. Have a great day. Merry Christmas.